Davies in the middle. Checks back against Carter and scores. That is atypical for the Amina Margot.
Quickly gets it back again. Oh, what a goal! Well, that sums up her season. The Gunners are WSL champions.
Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Vic Akers Wonderland podcast, and a very special edition because for this season, it's our 50th show this season, which is incredible. I can't believe we managed to make it this far without Lottie or Matt chucking me off the show. But no, I'm still here and very grateful to be. And joining me, as of course, my co-conspirator, Lottie. How's the week been for you, Lottie? Looking forward to another WSL weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, watching Leicester win 3-0 on Sunday, got some wicked shots on my Instagram. And then turning up at the Emirates, the other side of the field from where we were sitting, watching us smash Chelsea 5-0. Sublime. I'm ready for the weekend, although there's one game in particular I don't really want to watch, but I will be watching through my fingers. But we're not here to talk about that.
No.
We're about the other game.
We may reference it slightly, though. Should say, if those of you following the Arsenal website, I do hope you managed to capture the amazing picture of us, the Vic Akers Wonderland podcast. Well, some of us, shall we say, and friends outside the Armoury. Two-thirds of us and friends outside the Armoury with one of Lottie's amazing flags. It's a brilliant picture, and there's a lot of actually quite good snaps around the ground and in the stands, so well worth looking out for that. Now there has sadly been a bit of a setback, a bit of change in plans. As those of you know, new WSL policy, you're only a fan of the club that is within your postal code. So Matt is now an Everton fan for the podcast, but it's not a worry because he's always been one, haven't you, Matt? The Magnificent Matt. You've always been a die-hard Everton fan, is that correct?
Oh no, the camera's too low. There we go. Typical. Try and do a nice reveal for you all.
Yeah, I know you butchered it.
Yeah.
Yes. But Matt, how long have you been an Everton fan?
Let's try not to laugh in her face.
I'm trying not to piss myself laughing here. I'm sorry. God.
The story, it's just take this as a thing. It's just one of those really weird things. Essentially, I played disability football, been playing, actually oddly enough, it's coming up to 10 years. So basically, long story short, moved up to the Wirral, and I was invited, well, you don't get invited, you find a local team. So it was Everton, Liverpool, Tranmere, did trials with Tranmere, did really well, started playing with them for a little bit. I was also playing with Liverpool, but I just didn't like Liverpool. It was only an hour of fitness, whereas with Everton you got 2 hours, and you got the odd hour with Tranmere as well. But Tranmere were playing with a leaky roof, which isn't great. Typical northern weather. But long story short, Everton, and just from there you get the idea of, if you were ever watch in the community players and things like that, is how you get to know the community and how you get to know those set of fans. It's one of the reasons why I have a fondness for Southampton. Is I lived there for so many years for university. You go to the Saints Foundation, did some fantastic stuff with them. Memories that I'll never forget, including nearly winning a tournament against Ajax in the final. And yeah, so I ran. Okay, I'll go to Everton. And since then, I've now got friends there. I mean, just to talk about the season, just quickly, I only lost one game in the season, and I'm the goalkeeper. It just shows you how well we're doing. And we've got another load of fixtures. But yeah, just you get the sense of everything, and it's just when you feel like there is a great atmosphere around you. That's the sort of thing. It's very. I always think of clubs that are very similar: Southampton, Arsenal, and Everton. They've got the family feel around them, and they support their community no matter what, and
Excellent.
it's a great atmosphere, especially when it comes to Walton Hall Park. That's where the real atmosphere is, and it's not good.
We will come to Walton Hall Park a bit later on, but we're glad to have you on to offer your Everton expertise for this Everton versus Arsenal preview special. We'll start there with the icebreaker. Now, I don't know if you've been following the TV much or the news, but our captain, our Lioness captain, shall we say, and Arsenal vice captain, Leah Williamson.
About to tell you off then. Our captain, Kimmy Little.
I know. Our Lioness captain, Leah Williamson, was on the One Show on the sofa with Stephen Mangan and Alex and Ronan Kemp, who was also an Arsenal fan, and she was advertising the new children's book she is releasing called The Wonder Team and the Pharaoh's Fortune. It's probably not going to take a space on my library. Lottie, as a lover of books, it maybe will appeal to you, but it's about a time-traveling football team who travelled to ancient Egypt. So my question to the pair of you, for some of you, Lottie, if you could go back in time to any Arsenal women match, any in the past, it could be one you've seen or one you haven't seen, and have wanted to have seen, what would you go for?
Do you know what? It would be any game that Rachel Yankee or Jane Ludlow would be playing in.
Oh,
Any game with them. Any game. I would have loved to have seen them play. I mean, like growing up, Rachel Yankee was the name that you knew, but Ludlow was just a different gravy. I've just recently invested in a number 4 shirt with her name on it, so I'm quite excited to get that to the games.
Ludlow or Yankee? Which one have you gone
Ludlow.
for? Ludlow.
I'm searching for a Yankee shirt now, although I can get it customized because that's what I do anyway. But I've had the Ludlow shirt customized, and I'm like, I can't wait to wear this at Meadow Park.
Well, I can offer you the 2006 FA Cup final when Rachel Yankee scored a 35-yard screamer of a free kick, or the 2007 final against, I believe it was Charlton Athletic, when Jade Ludlow scored a brace, including a 25-yard screamer of a volley. So either of those I can offer you in magical.
One.
Yeah, I can offer you. Matt, any particular Everton games you would like to go back and watch? If not Everton, Arsenal games.
Lottie's laughing, I think. Laughing quite a lot.
Oh, this is going to be fun tonight.
You're going to have a lot of fun with this. Yeah. If I had to go for an Everton game, I think I would probably go probably quite early into the WSL. Probably, I think it was around 2014 when they were on the top sides, or maybe when they got into Champions League. Maybe that would be one of them. Now you got me thinking about Arsenal ones. I mean, there's so many. I would actually pick the testimonial for Kelly Smith.
Good call. Yes, and I like it.
The other option was something along the lines of the winning the league at Brighton, which I nearly got ticket for, but I last minute I went, it's going to take forever to get over there, and I should have just done it. But yeah, it's one of the biggest regrets is never getting a ticket to that Brighton game to win the league.
I mean, since none of you picked it, I'm just going to go for the obvious one, and I'm going to choose the Champions League final against Umea at Meadow Park.
I don't want to go for the obvious one. Do you know what I mean? It's the one you'd go for. Do you know what I mean? So I was there for that. It's just something incredible. And you know what? I'm hoping the archive might find some of that footage.
It might well have done. Yes. I should say. Yes. But you may have to wait a year to see it. A
year? Really?
Yeah. Yes, because I should just say to clarify with the Arsenal Women archive, the policy we do is one clip per day. We don't do multiple clips. Unfortunately, the final clashed with another game, and by the time I got the footage for it, the other game's in the system. Bad luck, everyone. I would choose that one. I'd also choose the 2007 FA Cup final because that was the first Arsenal Women game I ever watched. And I can barely remember any of it because I was too young, and I would love to go back and watch it through and go, right, that's what the game was, because that's sadly something I know I watched but just I can only recall the Charlton goal. I can only recall Charlton scoring after like 3 minutes. But I know Arsenal strolled it to a 4-1 win, and I've got 2 of the other 4 goals. But yeah, it's just one of those games I would love to be able to see back amongst many others. I mean, the Brighton game, as you mentioned, Matt, last time we won the league. I wish I could have been a properly invested, locked in Arsenal women's fan at that point, and I just wasn't. I was just getting there, but I wasn't fully locked in, and by the time I did, it was too late. We will move on to the news, and there has been plenty of news this week. And sadly, we're going to start with some really sad news that I think we can probably agree that the days of the Vic Akers Wonderland are coming to an end, because we've got huge competition now, major competition. I'm going to take away all our viewers, all our subscribers. We love you to bits, but we appreciate we can't compete with the rival podcast that's coming around the corner. I talk, of course, of the Tooney and Russo show, now on BBC Sounds. Lottie, is this a podcast that's going to be added to your library?
I'm debating, because I love Leslie. I'm not a major fan of Ella, unfortunately. So I'm on the fence on this one, I'm afraid.
I mean, I can't believe they went for Tooney and not Lotta. I mean, it's the Lotta and Leslie Russo. It makes so much more sense.
With the OGs, unfortunately.
Matt, is this a podcast that intrigues you? I mean, I'll probably be putting it on for my commutes to work. I think the first episode's out next week.
I'll be intrigued to see how it works, because Ella's quite, as you see, she's everywhere, and she's very out there in terms of how she is. Whereas you look at Leslie, she's very calm, she's very composed. Polar opposites, and you see it work a lot of the time.
And that's why they're best friends.
And that's why our podcast works so well.
Well, a podcast works for a number of reasons. Let's
move on.
Anyone
from
can Lottie's shaking her head there. I'll be interested. I know it sounds really weird, but if there was another player to do a podcast, I'd be interested in Lotta doing one.
Yes,
definitely.
Yeah. We should actually say though, on the just as a wider sort of topic, isn't it great that we're seeing the players on podcasts on the BBC? I mean, Ellen White does a thing with BBC 5 Live, the Aker Women's Roundup show.
Yeah.
Great seeing more and more players have the notoriety to be able to run a podcast.
I think the latest one from us is Viv. I haven't watched the latest episode, but Viv was the last person I was listening to on BBC Sounds.
I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
It's quite interesting, but slightly disheartening for me. But I'm not going to delve into it because I can talk about it for hours.
She does a lot of writing though, doesn't she? She does writing for one of the Dutch newspapers? Or
she has a column. She has a column. And
there we go.
Yeah, and she raised some really, really good points in talk about recovery from racial and the way football is in society, and society as well. It's a really, really good column. On topic of Viv, she was on the Arsenal website. I don't know if any of you had a chance to watch it, but she did a breakdown with Adrian Clark talking about her game and some of her goals that she scored and the way she's adapted from a 9 to a 10.
I've been so busy with work this week. I normally get like 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there to do stuff, but not this week.
It is up on the site, so do give it a watch if you can. And so Adrian Clark got a lot of time for this, a really good analysis. Obviously, he's an ex-Arsenal player in the sense that he played for 3 games and then was a bit of a sort of a journeyman player, but a lot of love for the club and very good insight into Vivian Miedema and her game. Moving on with some more Arsenal news, we obviously got the friendly coming up post-season against the A-League All-Stars, and their manager has been announced, and it's ex-Arsenal manager Joe Montemurro. So this will be the third Joe versus Jonas face-off following the Juventus Champions League matches from last season. Any thoughts on seeing Joe Montemurro back in the dugout against Arsenal this time?
Actually, I just sent a message to Jamie Swanger. So she's an Australian, obviously now living in London as a journalist, and she was just saying she was so underwhelmed with it because the A-League has a lot of managers and got a lot that can this would be the opportunity to sort of spread the awareness a little bit more. But then I sort of question her a little bit. Is this sort of the manager that is going to be because he's high profile, because he's out of the job? Is it just one of those that he's, look, I'm free if anyone wants me, or it was more of a case of just, look, need to boost up those numbers a little bit more. So get an Australian in who's more well known, sort of around Europe as well. It does sort of seem like that, which is okay. It's a fair point, but at the same time, you want to be promoting the league a little bit more, get those A League numbers up a little bit more. I mean, they've had a hell of a season. I think I've just reached out. Is it over 300,000 supporters for the entire league? Something ridiculous like that. It's huge numbers, for a league that's for one country that's the size of Australia. Long may it continue as well, but it's just it does sort of make you wonder who else was available, or what other managers they could have picked.
A competent manager, though, should at least give us a good game, and it hopefully will be a good game. Moving on to news a bit closer to home, Lauren Hemp has extended her stay with Manchester City. She's committed until 2027. Worth watching the announcement video. As anyone who knows Lauren Hemp knows, she's a massive Lego fan, and they did a very clever Lego-orientated contract announcement video, which I thought was quite cute. Sadder news, Manchester City, Bunny Shaw has been ruled out for the season with a foot injury, so she'll miss the last 3 games, including our trip there, which I believe is next week. Lottie, how big a loss is this going to be for Man City's season? They are neck and neck with Chelsea as we speak.
Yeah, it's kind of a massive blow, but you also want that Lauren Hemp to step up because she's been very good this season. I am gutted for Bunny Shaw because I do like watching her play, but I just don't like her playing against us. So I'm kind of relieved. I never wish injury on anybody.
No.
But in terms from our point of view, it's a good thing because she is that prolific goal scorer, and out of the 2 keepers, the only person that seems to keep her out is Sabrina.
Do you think it's advantage Chelsea now for the title?
Possibly. But I still think that Emma Hayes has lost the locker room after her comments on player relationships.
Yes, I mean, we should say Anne Katzenberger has agreed to leave the club off to, is it Gotham? She's gone
Gotham,
to?
yes.
Yeah,
she's joined their other 4 goalkeepers. They've got like 5 now. It's mad.
So, yeah, I mean, whether that is down to the comments or whether that is simply down to the fact that her race is run at Chelsea, Hannah Hampton's basically taken her space, and they've got Musovic as well. But obviously,
a contrast of both. Because although she was number 1 at Chelsea, she wasn't number 1 for Germany.
No,
and that's a lot.
In other news, and it's again quite sad news, another ACL this time. Elise Hughes, Matt, this is Crystal Palace, who are almost certainly going to be promoted to the WSL next season, but they'll be starting without her. It's going to be a real shame for Elise Hughes, who would no doubt have been looking forward to playing in the WSL right from the off next season.
Yeah, and this is the problem now, is that we're seeing a lot of, again, it's not every single day, it's almost once a month there'll be one that says, oh, by the way, we got another ACL injury, or there'll be an ACL injury. It's like, right, okay, here's another one. It does beg the differ what's happening at the moment and what the issue is. It is really hard, especially when you're in the Championship and you're almost getting relegated. I'm sorry, I was too busy thinking about Bristol there. Getting promoted back into the. Yeah, I do apologise for Bristol fans if you are listening.
Bristol City fans.
Bristol City fans. I've done it again.
City.
Bristol
It's
City.
terrible.
Yes, I know. I'm
anyway, you were saying Crystal Palace.
Yes, Palace. It's just going to be a bit more difficult, but then it makes you wonder, what would they do? Would they look to get someone in through the academy, or are they going to bring in someone on loan? I mean, there's a lot of options. There's got plenty of London teams in and around you, so there's that option. Do you bring in a little bit more of an experienced striker, someone like a Rachel Furness from Bristol City? Hey, I got it right this time.
What about an Arsenal striker who could benefit from going on loan against for any WSL club who lives in London? give her, Michelle Adjumang. She could be a good maybe loan signing for Crystal Palace next season to take up the baton.
You could, yeah. There's plenty of options. I think there's even if you look at towards the end of the 16, some of them are going to go up a little bit further. You could probably suggest maybe one of those. There's lots of options. I always think when a player's done really well in the Championship, give them a WSL, put them in WSL, see how they do. That would be the next step, especially for the likes of someone like Freya Godfrey and Katie Reid. See how they do when they're actually given minutes and not here's a couple of minutes here and there. Great that you made your debut. Hope that you do get those appearances now and then, not now and then, but want to see you a bit more consistently in the league. Oh my God, tongue tied.
We should say though, the ACL injury. The earliest we think she could be back is January. Is that correct?
Yeah, that would be 9 months of recovery. So without any issues, if it could be potentially maybe March, April by the time that she finishes.
I'm just thinking back to if you look at a player like Laura Wienreuter, who's only now just come back from her ACL, and that was pretty much a year on from the Champions League game against Wolfsburg. If it's now, I would suspect that yes, she might be back maybe in the squad, warming up and practicing and training with them as of January. But in terms of getting consistent minutes in the season, it might be a bit more difficult. But we wish her all the best in her recovery, and I hope we get to see her play in the WSL next season, providing, of course, something catastrophic doesn't happen on the final day and Palace somehow miss out. The team that is likely going to miss out, though, at the expense of Crystal Palace, is Charlton Athletic. It looks like they're going to finish second, but they have announced that they will be playing all their games next season at the Valley. Lottie, great news.
It definitely looks like I'm going down as a neutral. I mean, I'm absolutely buzzing for them with the club, with their history, and them being so close to clinching, being top flight is a little bit, tiny bit annoying. I've never wished for a team to kind of slip up, but I also look at Palace and think, please slip up. I want to have Charlton away day. Like, Charlton is one of the best away days ever. Like, don't get me wrong, Selhurst Park is great. We've won trophies there. Yeah. Right. But there's just something about Charlton's ground, and I watched a lot of them growing up, and I'm just like, I've got a little bit soft spot for Charlton at this point.
I've got a lot. I've got a soft spot for Charlton, as I said before. I've got relatives who support Charlton, and geographically for me, I'm on the right side of the River Thames. It's on the right side of London. It's an easy commute for me. I can drive it. I can get the train. Great day out at Charlton.
I'm going on an adventure.
Yeah, and obviously they have a heritage. As we explained earlier, they've been in FA Cup finals. They've won FA Cups. They have heritage in women's football. I'd love to play. See the Arsenal women play Charlton again. But great that they're playing at the Valley. They're no longer playing at I'm not sure what the ground it was they were playing at, but they are now playing at the Valley at the main stadium. And I hope it can drive attendances further and drive interest further. And I only look down to when me and Matt went to Southampton and seeing the benefits of them playing at St Mary's constantly really helps build that audience. And we had an amazing crowd there. And I don't think you would have got that if they played at is it Toxteth, the stadium that Southampton normally play at.
Tottenham,
thank you.
Originally it was the I can't remember what it's called, so I do apologise. But just on this, the championship's been very competitive this year, and I'm very much ready for it. I mean, I look at the teams going up, Newcastle and Portsmouth. I'd imagine you'd have a couple of games at Pratton Park next season. You've already got the Geordies, but at St James's Park, I think a lot of people are probably going to go as neutrals next season to St James's Park. That's for sure.
Well, St James's Park is becoming a bit of a hotbed for women's football because obviously the Lionesses are playing there. They play France there is it next month or month after?
Yes.
The
31st.
The end of May.
Just end of May.
We play the Australian
that bank holiday.
So that St James's Park I can't wait for when the Arsenal women play Newcastle United at St James's Park, because again, Newcastle is not a place I've been to. I've been through, but not to a place I want to go to and experience, and that'll be a perfect time to do it. News a bit closer to London, and that is Chelsea. We did mention this at the beginning of the pod, and it would be rude of us if we did not. They are on course to sell out Stamford Bridge. Finally, it's been a long time coming. But massive congratulations, Chelsea, if we do pull it off. I think it's a 40,000 seats stadium, give or take, and it looks like they are within hundreds of selling out their Champions League semi-final against Barcelona. Matt, this is fantastic news for the game if we can get another major stadium selling out women's football, and it's not just Arsenal and the Emirates Stadium.
Yeah, and I'd be interested to know who these people support as well, because supposedly, as you'll come on to later, there's a divide. You're not allowed, how many of them have got a London postcode and or not. But let's leave that to a side. I sound in astonishment. It doesn't matter how you get there. At the end of the day, it's all about the attendance. I remember a couple of years ago, it always was about free tickets or giveaways and things like that. That was always talked about. But now it's almost like, if you have a local women's team, there'll be a fixture. They'll pick a fixture and go, right, okay, we want to do this fixture, and we're going to get these little girls to watch these these teams, whether it's a derby, whether it's a Champions League game. There's that huge opportunity now that this is like their version of seeing someone and actually being, oh, that could be me in the next couple of years. It may not be on the pitch, but it might be on the side of the pitch. It might be up in the gantry. It might be a downside presenting. It could be me in the behind the scenes somewhere. They're seeing this, and this goes across the board, because it's been a very historic year post World Cup, hasn't it? And that's been fantastic. So congratulations to them, not because it's great to see things like that happen.
It is great to see it selling out. I know we get a lot of stick, and mockery to and fro about attendance trophies and it's, we mocked Chelsea the fact that in the group stage they weren't generating the attendances, but my feeling was always it was the same for us. Maybe not to those levels, but the group stages were weak. But as we progressed through, the crowds did come until we got to obviously the Wolfsburg game, and it looks like it's the same for Chelsea. That again, the Champions League attendance in the group stage are weak, but they have persevered. They've put the hard yards in, and they are selling out, and that will hopefully mean that next season they will have a very strong. I mean, they're getting around, I think, 15 to 20,000 at Stamford Bridge for the WSL matches they're hosting there, so they are on the way up. So I think it's fantastic news for Chelsea, fantastic news for WSL, and this is something I've written about rather recently. I hope that there are too many clubs who aren't putting the hard yards in and aren't putting the effort in, which is going to feed into what we're next going to talk about. It's great to see that Chelsea are not that club now, and they are the ones trying to push the attendances up, and they are succeeding. And I'm not gonna wish them best of luck at the weekend, because we are all Barcelona fans. So Matt is not only I'm an Arsenal fan, I'm embracing Matt's dual heritage here and saying I'm also a Barcelona fan. Lottie, are Chelsea going to do it? They won the first leg 1-0 in Barcelona, which hats off to them. Impressive result. Not many people. I don't think they've lost there in years, Barcelona, but lost they did. Are they going to finish the job at the weekend, or are Barcelona going to put them in their place?
Thing is, like, they've got all these people coming in, which is fantastic. Really happy for them, but that crowd is not going to make a difference. You think of the crowds that they perform in front of week in, week out this time of year over in Spain, where they normally would be. Like, this crowd's going to be nothing, so it's not going to bother them. I'm wondering if they're going to crumble like under the amount of people that are there again, because that's what Chelsea do. I don't think Barcelona are going to take too kindly to be losing 1-0.
You think they might poke the dragon?
Yeah, I think they might have rattled the cage of the dragon, so to speak. But yeah, we're all Barcelona. This weekend. Do you know what? I saw Woso struggle, and this girl sitting there like, why don't you want a team from your own country to win the Champions League? And I'm sitting there going, I wonder why.
Yes.
I wonder why. Because they're already across the board, both men's and women's, they're already insufferable. I don't want more. I want to
No.
be left alone. Do you know what I
Absolutely.
mean? Like it's this is the men's game. It is Chelsea, but
Yeah.
I looked down at the away end towards the end. There's about 100 fans left in that away
I
end. They all
know.
gone home.
Yeah.
And there's two of them standing there with their Champions League
Champions
trophy
League.
balloons.
Yeah.
And on the way out, which I was like, one of the Arsenal fans nicked it off him because I ended up walking up behind him, so
Yeah.
we went around the away end to go home. And they stamped on it and go, "Oh, there's your trophy back."
Brilliant.
I was like, wow.
Brilliant.
Obviously, the guy couldn't kick off because the coppers were standing there watching him. Like, police said there was no need for that, but there was two of them that, like, one was standing next to where the Arsenal fans in the clock end. He was waving his trophy. I'm like, you're losing 5-0. Have some pride. Like, it's embarrassing. Like, they talk about us talking about our history all the time.
And
anything you say to them, oh, we got a Champions League trophy.
Yeah. But we got the Cup Winners' Cup, and we've got the Intercity Fairs Trophy. So
and we have Champions League for
and
women.
the Women's Champions League, which hopefully they will never have. They'll never get their grubby mitts on it. So come on, Barcelona, shape up, and win, please.
Barca.
From talking about Barcelona, who, whatever you may say about them as a club and their finances and how results may have gone against them in the past, they are at least really doing good work supporting their women's team, and you can see them with the amazing attendances and so forth. Pivot to Everton, and the news that this week they were taking tickets off Arsenal fans. Matt, what happened? What was your glorious club doing to our fan base?
I actually had to find out what was going on from you, which is a bit of a new one to everyone. Usually, I don't like using
Normally,
the
Matt,
used
you're
ones.
ahead of the game. So
Yeah.
Yeah, you're ahead of the curve.
Usually, I did not know anything about this at all. So, as soon as you mentioned it, go on social media, see what's going on. We had Freya on the other day for the Villa review, and she's had her ticket taken off her because essentially. I'll just read the statement out. Dear supporter, we are writing to you in relation to our upcoming Barclays Women's Super League fixture against Arsenal this Sunday, the 12:30 kickoff. As part of our ticketing checks ahead of this game, we have investigated whether there are potential away supporters who have purchased home tickets. To do this, we have looked at accounts without any kind of previous purchase with Everton Football Club and a non-local home address. So I asked the supporters club what's happened. So they essentially said the away end was sold out, and because Everton have found a number of Arsenal fans in the away end, they've had to basically just say, look, stop this.
Don't you mean the home end?
Yes, sorry. Because so the away allocation was, Adam had to correct me on this. I thought it was 300. It was 250.
Yeah.
Walton Hall Park only holds 2,000. 2,000 fans, which is a bit of an issue in itself. Let's be honest. I think last time around I think the capacity might have been a bit over last time around. To be honest, I could barely.
My question for this is how the hell have they managed to oversell that many tickets? I think I saw something on Twitter about the 5,000 mark. Was that right? I could be wrong. Like, how do you sell? You know what the capacity of the ground is. You've been there for an X amount of seasons. How do you manage to oversell that many tickets?
So actually, this is something I wasn't aware of. So, Lottie, so Everton have oversold tickets.
Yeah, that's what I was hearing, but it might not necessarily be true, and that's why they were taken away. There's also the case of another rumor that was going around was. Well, I think you've told me about this one out about the support of another club singing about
right. So I think this is something that your supporters club friend mentioned there.
Yeah, about the
fan chanting about
right. So supposedly they at another game we are. Well, I say there's Arsenal fans who have gone in and sort of investigated it. Supposedly, let's just say there's certain fans in Manchester who were just going around and chanting very nasty things. And this isn't like turn around to Courtney Brosnan and going, you're
Yeah, yeah.
It was like poverty chants and things like that. And it's just, and you think to yourself, oddly enough, Manchester has its own issues in itself. The fact that Arsenal women supporters bring a lot of food to the supporters bank when Arsenal play City, it's just like it's really bad behaviour, and it's a bad mentality to have across the board. I'm all for the banter between the plans and everything. Chelsea can turn around and say, we know what we are, champions of England, blah blah blah, and we can all go champions of Europe.
You never
seen that.
Yeah.
Things like that, where it's like good lighted humour, not like full on to the abuse. Like there's no need for it. But essentially, because of that, Everton have turned around and gone, right, okay, we'll have to reduce. What I don't accept is that the club should have made a statement, full stop, before the games or at a certain point, just to say, because of recent events or because of previous games, there have been an issue with certain fans. There's not going to be any there's going to be a reduced capacity for away fans, and go from there. That would have probably helped a lot, but the problem is that you look at Arsenal as a club selling away allocations out. I mean, huge amounts. We talked about capacity attendances and things like that. The fact that we've sold that as our Arsenal fans is huge, and if they could have done this a lot better. I just think the way it was done was really poor. It doesn't help the cause. There's a few issues behind the closed doors as well with the ownerships and things like that still hasn't been sorted out, which also means the fact that Walton Hall Park is owned by Everton, they can't upgrade it so that it can be a bit bigger, because there is space for it to be bigger than it is instead of all standing. And at the moment it's just a bit of a nightmare, because when the big teams come to play, there's not really room to stand on. A fact that just to put it into perspective, last season when we had that game, I could barely see anything. I wasn't able to see much, and I'm going to have to bring a stool with me so that I can see. That's how it is, because you basically get there early and you get good seats. If you get there too late, you miss your chance. You need to bring something with you to make sure that you can see. But the way this was handled is absolutely wrong from Everton. I understand it, and a lot of fans understand it. I just think the way it was done was just wrong.
And the tickets.
I've got to agree with Matt there. I also think it's a real shame for those fans who do, like Freya from the 115-yard podcast, who do go up there to see specific players play. I know she specifically goes there to see Piemonte, if I pronounce that right, to play. She does the same with Lena Hurtig for Arsenal when Lena's playing, but obviously not recently. Some people follow their teams and then they'll go and watch a specific player. And I think for her to have her ticket taken away from her because of her postcode, it's wrong and it's unfair. And there's no club statement, and that's what's really irritated me.
And it makes no sense, because you can be an Everton fan that doesn't live in
I
Everton.
know 2 fans from Luton, they go to about 5-6 games a season.
Yeah.
Don't have tickets because of their postcode.
They haven't taken off them.
Yeah. They planned this trip for months.
Yeah.
And it's now not happening. They go to the Arsenal game in Everton every single year. And now we're at this point. The thing is that they're taking their main thing. When I was speaking to someone, they were saying, "Oh, they're only taking tickets off people who don't have history." No, they haven't, and it's just really disappointing from the club. My question is, like, for those people who have lost their tickets, who have been up there for games, how do you expect fans to stay loyal when you're doing stuff like this 5 days before the game? There's hotels, there's everything.
Yeah. Well, this is so
unfair on fans. It's wrong.
There's so much to unpack on this one, because I was looking into this. Walton Hall Park is the smallest stadium in the WSL. Its capacity, Matt, you said, of 2,000. Any takers to who the second smallest is?
I'm going to go with Dagenham, Redbridge, West Ham.
Redbridge, Lottie?
Yeah, I just said West Ham.
No, it's Arsenal with Meadow Park at 4,000. We have the second smallest stadium in the WS. I know. Yes, we do. I looked up Wikipedia.
You know what?
Lies.
I don't keep up in the WSL. I don't keep up with capacity. Not even with the Premier League. I'm like, what? Really?
Well, I never thought much of it either. But you think that likes of Spurs player at Leighton's Lynn Orient Stadium is quite big. Villa player Escott.
Park.
Yeah,
we don't have one.
Well, this is the thing. We are moving away from Meadow Park as well. But a lot of the teams now play in bigger stadiums, which are too big for the teams. If that makes sense. So that's why the stands seem empty. We've got the opposite. We're overflowing. We can't get all the fans in.
It's literally a fight to get tickets. Tickets are being sold out in 15, 20 minutes.
I really hope next season, though, that this fixture, sorry, Lottie, this fixture will be at Goodison Park, being the fact that it's going to be the last season for Goodison Park. That way, Arsenal fans can have a proper away section and fill it out properly.
Yeah,
we'd easily fill up a stand. Come on.
So this is what again.
I like Goodison Park.
Talk about the capacity. Obviously, me and Matt, we went to Brenton Park for the Liverpool away game. We sold out an entire stand, the Cowshed, which has the same capacity pretty much as the entire Walton Hall Park Stadium. Now, a lot of 250 allocation for compared to 2,000 or 2,500, whatever it was. I'm sorry, that is unacceptable as an allocation for Arsenal. And it's well known that Arsenal travel in numbers. It's no secret. We break records everywhere we go at the Brighton Stadium.
As well.
It is, and that's why it should have been. That's why I'm saying, well, as mentioned earlier, I don't think Walton Hall Park is a stadium that is compatible with WSL football anymore. Might have been a few years ago. We should say they didn't used to play there. Previously, they played at Southport at the, I believe it's called the Get Help Stadium, which has a capacity of about 6,000, which would have been absolutely adequate, apart from the fact that the pitch was rubbish. And also the fact that it was miles and miles away, so way north of Liverpool. It's a heck of a commute to get there. And whereas Walton Hall Park is literally a stone throws away from Goodison Park. Mm-hmm. So they've got a stadium that is too small for them, that Arsenal obviously can't fit their fans in. A lot of the fans have bought tickets on the Everton site because they've done that before. I mean, because that's what we used to do. Because I know there's all holding allocations and so forth, but we've always bought off the opposition websites. I still get emails from the tickets I got for London City Lionesses when we went there for the League Cup game.
Yeah, I still get tickets from Wolves, emails from Wolves.
Yeah, absolutely. It's we talk so much and do positive about the great things Arsenal done with attendances, but it's masking the fact that there are so many other clubs that haven't done what Arsenal are doing, and we've now been caught up by the disparity. How we can have a team that has a 2,000 capacity stadium, which basically has got one stand which holds about, I think, 500 people, and then you literally stand around a perimeter fence, and there's no terracing. It is literally you just stand around into the pitch. It is. I would compare it to my local club Bearsted Stadium. They are like way south, non-league. But you're absolutely right, Matt. Then the idea was that when they moved to Walton Park, they were going to develop it and make it bigger, and then it wouldn't have been a problem. Of course, as everyone knows, money's a bit of a difficult currency in Everton at the moment, and at the moment their focus is building that giant stadium out in the docks. I would hope when it's built, they'll put the women's team there as well. I do have a lot of sympathy for both sides, because it is in the terms and conditions that Arsenal fans can't buy the tickets on the Everton site because they are for home fans. Of course, like of iTunes, who reads the terms and conditions, but ignorance is no excuse. But I do think it should have been advertised more clearly that when at the point buying tickets saying only buy if you're an Everton fan. I think the way that Everton have done this is at best clumsy and at worst discriminatory, because you can't judge a player, just a person's fandom based on a postcode, which is just ludicrous. Ludicrous.
Let's be honest though, tickets this season have been like gold dust to get for Arsenal fans across the board. I mean, Lottie, how many times have we been sitting waiting trying to buy tickets when you're at work or things like that?
You know what? It took me 40 minutes to pick up 5 tickets for the last game of the season. I was sitting there panicking. I was ready at 3:00 and I was already 200 people in front of me when I got into the queue. Like I managed to get some tickets in the South Stand, but chaos.
And the other thing you talk about, the financial aspect, is the allocation came out so late. I think it was like earlier this month, the allocation became available. So naturally, people go, well, I'm not going to risk it. I'll get my tickets earlier when I know it's a safer bet, because people have to plan journeys. They have to plan, it could be flights, train journeys, hotels, as you say. There is a lot of
and everything else.
It is not just the cost of the ticket. It is the cost of the travel, and it's the cost of the accommodation and so forth. People have invested money in going up to Everton, because I've driven to Merseyside. I've driven up to the Wirral. It's a long way, and it takes time, and you can't. It's not just a trip around the corner. And all that's been gone from them. And yes, they've been refunded the cost of the ticket, which, okay, fair enough. But
what about everything else?
Yeah,
The
exactly.
supporters club are looking for this. The Arsenal Supporters Club. They are. If anyone has had any issues, please contact the Arsenal Supporters Club.
Yes, please do.
They are looking to help out with free funds and things like that as much as possible, which is great of them to do. It is one of those that sort of look at it and say, we've done that. Everton need to sort of do something as well. It is an issue.
They should be making an effort.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that what Arsenal fans did getting their tickets in the home end is correct or what they should be doing, but the way that, as Matt said earlier, the way this has been handled, they should be doing better as a top flight club.
My feeling is that the way the fact that they're having to buy those tickets is because the capacity can't take on the away support. So that there is, how else do they get tickets? And and I remember when we went to Liverpool, we were overflowing out of the away stand. We sold out, and I was lucky. I got a ticket off somebody else. We did a swap. But I know a lot of Arsenal fans, when we went to Liverpool, ended up buying home end tickets because they couldn't get in the normal allocation. And whilst I was a bit screaming over it, I remember looking over to one of the stands that was completely closed off. Because the home fans hadn't sold anywhere near their amount of tickets. So you think, well, where's the harm in that? In Walton Hall Park, you're taking tickets off home fans, which is obviously wrong. But the stadium itself is just not suitable anymore. And I fear, given Everton's current situation, they're going to be stuck there for a few more seasons at a stadium that is not suitable, and that's a real shame, really, because again, the club and the players definitely deserve better, and the fans deserve better. I hope it will be in Goodison Park, as you say, next season, Matt, and I hope a game like that is put into their new stadium, just not because of it's a big game and draw the crowds, but just simply as a case of it's the only way they'll be able to cater for the support from both sides.
Just going to quickly ask, because there was an issue with the men's National League. Gateshead actually had a playoff spot. They got that nicked off them because of a licensing issue with the council.
Yeah,
I'd imagine if Nuco decided to go the similar route with the WSL and the Championship, say, let's say Durham get promoted next season, and they get that nicked off them because they don't have a 10,000 seat stadium. That it seems cruel, but it seems to be the right way of doing it, because that there's going to be thousands of away supporters in that, whether they play Man City, whether they play Everton, whether they play Arsenal, whether they play let's say Newcastle. I was going to say Newcastle, but I think actually Newcastle and Sunderland will probably bring in their thousands, and they play them anyway. But just let's see I'll be interested to see what Nuco do when it comes to these sorts of situations, because there is a lot that needs to be figured out before they take charge.
I should say,
I think so. It's not just Everton to blame. I think the FA's ignored this long enough as well.
Yeah, something does need to happen. We should say also Manchester United have already travelled to, you mentioned earlier, they are another team that they have a really strong away support, and I think I think it came up to about 1,900 sold at Walton Hall Park. So they were very close to a sellout, and obviously this game is going to sell out, which fantastic. But at what cost? So we'll have to see how this all pans out. Obviously, I fear it will happen again. I hope it doesn't. But we will move on to the game. We'll move on to Everton versus Arsenal. Arsenal's home game of this tie was actually played right at the start of this year. I think it was our first WSL game back from Christmas. A 2-1 win with goals from Ford and Mead, and was it Katja Snoes with the goal for Everton, which was quite a nice goal, actually. It was a good break behind the defence, and slotted past Murray very well. Mead with the header from a delightful Leah Velty cross, just to give us back the lead just before half-time. Velty obviously injured for this one, but that is nothing compared to Everton. Heather Payne, Rika Madsen, Aurora Ghali, Emily Ramsey, Tony Duggan, Katrina Vai, Caroline Olsen, Hannah Bennison, all injured or doubts. Also, Katrine Mollicall, not injured, but unavailable because of her loan agreement with Arsenal. Matt, why are so many players at Everton injured?
I think that it always seems to be the way, isn't it? There's always one team that, no matter what, they get the biggest injuries, and it always hits them at the worst times.
It's usually us.
Yeah, it really is a big surprise. But to be honest, the fact that they have managed to get points on board with a very depleted squad, you've essentially 9 players out of that side, to be able to get to where they are is overachievement by some standards.
This is actually what I was going to lean on to next, is how much credit does Brian Sorensen deserve that Everton are actually not battling Bristol City for relegation, that they're safe for another season, 9th I believe at the moment. Is it tantamount to his managerial skills that he's managed to keep Everton competitive despite the absentees?
Yeah, and I think what also helps out a little bit is actually going into the loan market and getting those players through the doors, especially when you don't have that sort of money available, the likes of Arsenal, Chelsea, City, etc. have, and asking for players that aren't able to get those minutes. With Katrina Mollicall, she's needed those minutes. She's done really well. She's actually done. She's managed to get an assist during the time there, so that's good news. It's just you want to see more of Katrina Mollicall. You want to see her grow and develop, and when you come to see her next season at Arsenal, you want to see, yeah, she did that at Everton. Can you do that now consistently at Arsenal? Let's say one of those midfield spots could potentially be up for in the summer. We know Vic and Kim on the primary. Who's going to be that second? Is it going to be Kyra? Is it going to be Katrine?
Yeah.
That's going to be definitely one to keep an eye on. But it's just this Everton's whole issue has been throughout the board. Just to go on some other stats for you, at home they played 9, won 1, they've drawn 2, lost 6. They've scored 7 goals, conceded 9. They're 11th for goals, shots on targets, and scored. So they're only managing 2.9 shots on target per game and 0.9 of a goal every home game. Every game. It's not good, but they're performing over what was probably expected of them. It's just really mad situation. The fact that you've got so many players out is so mad. I've seen some takes suggest that Walton Hall Park isn't fit for purpose. Walton Hall Park is actually very well taken care of. If I'm honest, I don't know where it's coming from. It might just be just bad luck. I mean, I think it's Hannah Bennison is out with an illness. So
just to clarify on that, Hannah Bennison is ill, but they actually are hopeful she'll play. Just on the other, Katrina Vai, touch and go, they said, likely out, but you never know. And Caroline Olsen was just put down as a doubt, but the others all injured. You mentioned the loan market. Any loan signings that, apart from Katrine Mollicall, who's obviously the star, any other loan signings that they brought on have flourished this season?
Well, no, I think that was the only signing that he made in that window, from the top of my head. So I do apologise. But having Sarah Holmgard coming back after her loan spell in January, I think that's helped them quite a lot. She set up her sister, Karen. I'm going to get this wrong, isn't it? Because Karen Hong, one of them's. Are these twins?
Are they twins?
Yeah.
Yes, I heard about this. So they got twins. This is a fantastic thing. So Everton have got a pair of twins who play in the same team. Are they? What position are they? Are they defender, winger, or winger striker?
I think Karen's more of the attacking full midfielder, whereas Sarah's more of the defending midfielder.
Right. Okay.
So Sarah's got 2 assists to her name since she's come back, and Karen's got 2 goals to her name this season.
Fantastic.
So
Fantastic.
yes, the fact that they set each other up and score, that helps them out quite a lot. I mean, imagine trying to mark both of them two in corners and things like that might be a bit of a nightmare.
I'm more thinking of is there no risk of mistaken identity? I remember when speaking on the men's side, Manchester United used to have Fabio and Rafael da Silva, and I recall a referee accidentally almost booking the wrong player. So I think it leads to all sorts of japes, or commentators getting the names mixed up. We'd probably forgive them. I know we are a bit harsh on commentators fumbling names and getting the facts wrong. I think we could forgive them if they got the 2 players the wrong way around. I think that's fantastic. You don't see enough of that twin teamwork on the pitch. Unfortunately, as I said, as an Arsenal fan, hopefully it's not going to impact us on the day. The team is a case of not who is right, but who is left. So any thoughts who might be the team, or who's in goal? Emily Ramsey's obviously injured, so who's going to be the goalkeeper for Everton?
So that's Ireland's number 1, Courtney Brosnan. She's been outstanding. Since she's come to the club, actually, she's just gone on from strength to strength. Essentially what you saw with the England game against Ireland, if you did watch it, I don't know if it's back on ITV Play or not in the UK, but there will be highlights that you can find around that she had a really good game, even though she conceded 3. That is very typical of Courtney Brosnan. She'll have a solid game. She'll make 3 or 4 really good saves, but Everton will still manage to concede goals. Just a bit of a mention for Megan Finnegan, top goal scorer, 1,620 minutes this season, and top goal scorer being a defender with 3.
She's got more than Snoyce. She's got more than
Katia Snoyce and Piemonte both have 2. So
I thought she got more. I just thought she scored against us at Meadow Park, and I think she even scored in the away game last season, the 4-1, or actually it was her that got the consolation at the end. We should have a shout out, Matt, of course, to Everton's secret weapon. The drum. No, not the drum, but I think Everton and Ireland's secret weapon when it comes to a certain type of set piece, the code named Rory Delap. Will we be seeing more of those long throws?
No, because she's at London City Lionesses.
Oh no, she left, didn't she? Oh no, because she was at Meadow Park earlier in the season, wasn't she? Yes. And I thought,
there was some really comical tweets looking back at it. I mean, I think we've had a few. If you look back at them, she's from the halfway line and she's doing that throw. To be honest, you're lucky. You do think back and think, how did we manage to get away with defending those? But it's great to see that sort of chaos, because you don't really see that enough. Those sort of small little things that you can do. It'll be nice.
Or long things in this.
It's something different, and it's very chaotic.
Has a departure been missed by Everton? It's an army. It's a weapon they don't have in their armour anymore. The long throw. Has it has her departure impacted the team? Would you say, or is it just they've just moved on and just coped about?
I think it's a case of, again, because of the financial aspect, she's not been able to. She would have probably likely said she would have been a great weapon to have, especially with both Sarah and Karen Homeguard in the sides. Everton are very, very very tall team. Even if you take some of those players out, Piemonte, a very tall player up top. That if you can find the right space for her or play it into her feet, she's got a great opportunity there. I know she hasn't really found her feet yet, but fingers crossed to her. Not fingers crossed to her in this game, but fingers crossed to her for the rest of the season that she finds some footing, because sometimes it just takes that.
One of the I want to sort of dance about a bit. So just quickly, striker, you say is going to be?
I'd imagine
Snoyce.
I'd imagine it'll be Piemonte.
And midfield. You mentioned the twins.
Yeah, I think we'll see both Karen and Sarah Homeguard starting. I think if Hannah Bennison is fit, I think she'll probably make it on there. Megan Finnegan obviously starts. Courtney Brosnan at the back. Oddly enough, I can't even say Heather Payne because she's injured at the moment as well.
Yeah.
And Heather Payne's been a huge impact player for Everton. Most dribbles for Everton, most forward passes in the attacking third this season. It's just a bit chaotic. So it feels like very much like you're playing and playing. I think it's Cards Against Humanity, where you don't know what you're going to get, and you just have to sort
Are
of
we at
pick.
the point when it's academy players on the bench, like some of the Arsenal games, if some of us remember, when it's
I think so.
Mm.
I think so. But there's still a few senior squad. I think they've got 14, 15 players left. Yeah.
One last thing I'm going to mention before we move on to Arsenal. Natalie Bjorn, we believe she's available to play at the weekend for Chelsea in the Champions League tie. How big a loss has she been for Everton?
Huge. And I don't have any issues with her going. It was the fact that it was Chelsea of all the teams she could have gone to. The fact that Arsenal fans were calling her at one point, and the fact she could play centre back, right back, defensive midfielder. She was that sort of player that you go, she would really fit in really well with Arsenal, especially with the Swedish connection. Unfortunately, she's with Chelsea there, and you look at, it's a real shame because had Madrid of actually put the money where their mouth is instead of just being dilly dally with it.
Yeah,
she would have been at Real Madrid and she could have been playing in Champions League football. Instead, she's playing Champions League football with Chelsea this season, and she's sort of gone under the radar a little bit with Chelsea. But I'll be interested to see how she goes, because it'll be one of those where whether she'll rise to the occasion, or 2 or 3 years in 2 years' time she'll be at, say, a Lyon or a PSG.
Absolutely. We will move on to Arsenal. This is, of course, an Arsenal podcast. Jonas had his press conference earlier today and confirmed that Lottie and Kyra Cooney-Cross are back in contention, which is great news, especially for Kyra's #1 fan. He was also asked about Arsenal's play style, the fact that how structured they sort of are. Jonas is keen to sort of counter say that there's a difference between being structured and being static. And I think he's spoken about how they're trying to use their structure to be a more fluid and dynamic team. Lottie, since the turn of the year, obviously we know that low blocks has sort of been our kryptonite this season. But as we've progressed from the turn of the year to now, would you say that we've gotten better at dealing with low block defences? Because I expect when we go to Everton, that's what we're going to face.
It depends if you look at the Chelsea game or not.
Which Chelsea game?
One at Stamford Bridge.
Oh, right, okay.
The first one was great.
No, the cup final.
3 points off them.
The cup final or the cup final.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Nah, we dealt with it very well. We kind of learnt our lessons from Stamford Bridge. When you look at the game up at Molineux, we learnt our lessons. I mean, you saw the sort of shot that Lauren James went for. Manu got there. And if she hadn't, that would have been in, and that would have been game over. But Manu got there, and we kind of fixed that. And I've said it on the pods building up to Stamford Bridge. I said I'd rather lose the points than the trophy at this point, and that's exactly what happened.
When you look at, I would say, performances like the West Ham away game, when it was a bit sort of a bit of a struggle to break Everton as well. I know we got 2 goals in the first half, but it was a bit of a struggle in the second half to sort of find that goal. We now look at us against Aston Villa, the Bristol game, the Leicester game that we were obviously all at, which we were at rather. Sorry. It does look like we're finally clicking.
Yeah, I think is you kind of end the season on a note how you want to continue.
Yes,
I think there's a couple of. I think not this one, the one before, on his press conference, and I'm like, do you know what? This is what I want to see. So the next 3 games are going to be the most interesting, because we can see how next season's going to go without the new players coming in. If we sign anyone in the summer, because that's going to be absolutely key to how we start our season.
It's building the momentum. I think it's called it the principles. Implementing the principles. Getting those connections built. It is a frustration that it has taken a whole season to get to sort of this point.
Season,
no, I know.
Written into it.
Yeah.
Like That's
again,
why we lost against Liverpool. There
it's
was just no time for our players to come back from Australia. Like, obviously, a few of them didn't go, a few of them came back early, but the ones, the absolute key ones, they came back at last minute because they were all in the final.
Jonas was keen to stress the fact that the early Champions League exit, obviously the Liverpool defeat, lack of pre-season, we started at a very low level, and we've been playing catch up the entire season, and I think that has affected us.
It might have been catch up, but we still qualified to the Champions League, and that's all that matters at this point to me.
Well,
And with
yes,
the trophy out of it this season, I'm happy.
This is the question I was sort of going to ask when we do our end of season review, but it came up in the press conference, so I figure I may as well throw it to you two now, as it's relevant. Jonas was asked what I call a tricksy question. So you qualify for the Champions League, top 3 finish guaranteed. So you've got at least Champions League qualification. You have a trophy in the back pocket. You have the Conti Cup. Is the season a success?
I'll let Lottie go first. Do you want me to go first, Lottie?
Yeah,
Right, okay.
Lottie can
So, ever since Jonas has come in, there's always been this idea of just, well, not, he's got his ideas, he's got his ways, and basically most of the team who were there have kept their spots, or unfortunately they're not needed. They weren't needed anymore, the likes of Jordan and now. Well, I imagine that potentially this might end up keep on being the pattern until Jonas says, right, that's the team now. But you never know in football. There might be issues on or off the pitch that knows about. So, but that first season, I consider that a success. It was a cup final. We got to a cup final. We pushed Chelsea all the way, nearly won the league. Second season, success, 100%. Finally got that trophy. We got to a semi-final of Champions League, and we managed to get to Champions League, basically crawling across the line. And now this season, we've managed to guarantee Europe with basically 4 games remaining, and we've got a trophy in the middle of that as well. It's all he is making progress, and he's making it all the time. It's just a case of, right, what would you like next? Well, next I would like to have an FA Cup final. I want to see us win it at Wembley. I want to see us lift that trophy and I would like to lift the WSL as well. Are we there with the Champions League? No, I think this season, the fact we went out so early, it's probably been the setback. So we're not going to be that team next season, but it might be the season after where we're looking at and going, okay, that's Champions. Let's try and push for that Champions League semi-final again.
Lottie, how would you word it? Success, failure? Is it too binary a choice to really stick a flag on?
I've just said that I'm happy with what we've had this season, so this is going to sound really good. I'm somewhere between the middle, mainly because of where our season started and how far we've had to kind of fight to get the Champions League spot and kind of just pull everything together. I do want to point fingers at the FA and everyone else, like no preseason, no breaks, no nothing.
Yeah, I
think it's completely unfair, and we were victim to it. Unfortunately, we had players in the semi-finals or finals, and it was just, when you've got a whole left-hand side of a team in a semi-final on their home turf, and then you have several key players from another team playing down there, and they come back and they've got to go straight into team football with all these new signings. Like, how do you expect things to work? Yeah. Like, some of our girls, like, I'm gonna use Leslie Russo prime example. Leah Williamson knows how to work with her. Beth Mead knows how to work with her. Everybody else doesn't. And not having the connections with Kimmy and Leah Volti, it didn't help for what we see at the moment. And I'm hoping for a better season next season, but I'm on the fence whether it's a failure or a success. I'm halfway leaning towards success because we've got the silverware and the Champions League spot. But we did this last season.
Yes, we've not.
So I'm a bit hesitant to say yes or no on that
It was
subject.
not progressed. We've almost sort of stabilised. We sort of. I think this. I mean, it's not. I want to say it's not. I don't want to say it's an awful question. But
I don't want to sound like excuse central, but last year we had
Yeah.
the ACL that academic. Like, I feel like I'm making excuses, but unfortunately, these reasons are facts,
Yes.
and you can't shy away from them. So it's
yeah.
really difficult.
My feeling is it's a very tricky question, because obviously if Jonas stood and said yes, it's been a success, we've got Europe, we've got a trophy, people are going to go, well, your aspirations are pretty low, aren't you? You know, we should be winning titles and Champions Leagues and FA Cups and yeah. My feeling is it's not so much it's not a failure of a season is the way I would phrase it. It has a failure would have been relegation. A failure would have been no Europe and no trophy. And if Man United lose to Spurs in the FA Cup final, that's exactly what's going to happen to them. But we've not had that. We've got Europe and we've got a trophy. But in terms of what Arsenal deem as a success, as in, if I say that as where we want to be end game, no, it's not. Because we haven't got anywhere close to the title. We're 6 points off. The Opta computer rates our chances as 0, and no Arsenal fan is disputing that at all. So I wouldn't say
wasn't it 0.06?
Yeah,
it still is, isn't it? At the moment,
it's
an odd one, isn't it? Because essentially we can't win the league if City beat us next weekend, if everything goes according to plan.
Yeah. I think, and again, I think Lottie, I think there are reasons for that, and I think it's not simply we're just terrible. The bringing back of players and the lack of Champions League football, the way that players haven't played maybe enough, and again,
it's also a case of Jonas doesn't know his best 11.
No,
let's be honest.
Doesn't.
He likes to play a game of as we call it in the Premier League, pep roulette. I'm going to start calling it Jonas roulette now.
I think the autopsy will happen at the end of the season. I know they will do checks as they go along. I think there are extenuating circumstances. I would also say that I don't think Jonas I think Jonas has made mistakes, as all managers do. And I think that a lot of introspection and review will be needed in the summer.
At least he holds his hands up and says, that was my bad. Yeah. Unlike some managers.
Absolutely. But I would say it has not been a failure of us this season. I would say we are at the absolute basement, bare minimum of what should be expected. You know, this is not as much to be we are achieving what we want to do. It's what we're achieving, what is the bare minimum expected of us. And, you know, trophy in Europe, it's great. It's more than we had a few seasons ago. And I'm saying even before Joe Montemurro's time, I'm talking like, we didn't have Europe at all. We're getting both of them, which is quite nice. So, careful, what you wish for and all that. But it's not been a successful season. We'll look at the players. There was a bit of a little groovy little twist, which no one saw coming, which was Steph Catley at left centre-back. Lottie, do you think she'll get a second run out in that position? I know you're a huge fan of Steph Catley. So do you think she will play again at left centre-back?
Do you know what? I quite enjoyed her there. It's one of her best performances I've seen in a very long time.
Great assist.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That was just sublime. If I'm honest with you, possibly, but my homegirl Lotta's back, so I'm like,
This is the thing. Would you bring her back in, or would you start?
Yeah, I'd bring Lotta back in. I don't know. I see her face and it just makes me happy. So, and I know she's player of the season for me, hands down. If we're going to start nominating player of the season, she has the potential to be better than Leah Williamson. I love Leah Williamson, but I see her being better. And that, I think, with them playing side by side, they will push. Because you look back at Leah and Raffaele, they came best of friends, but they pushed each other to be better, and that's what we want. Don't start laughing at me. I'm not over it.
No, I think it's lovely. I just remind of that the clip from
memories, isn't it? Yeah. It's the fact that Raffaele goes and scores the goal against Wolfsburg and half time, they're just before half time and things like that. It's great memories to think about.
I'm just getting flashbacks of The Fox and the Hound from the Disney film, where it's like, we're always going to be friends, aren't we? Of course we are. And then cut to the end and Rafa's gone off to America and Izzy's not there anymore. I think Lotte is going to be a really, really good centre back, and we should say the Arsenal Women's Supporters Club Player of the Season voting The competition is open, so if you do want to vote, is it members only or is it open to everyone?
I think it's members only, but
Members only. So if you are listening to this and you are a member of the Arsenal Women's Supporters Club, please vote. And vote with your heart, and hopefully best of luck to Lotta. Hopefully Lotta wins. The other experiment I would say is obviously Kyra Cooney-Cross is available again. A player we haven't seen that much of. Maybe we'd hope we'd see more, but again, adaptation and so forth to the league. We've seen she's a bit of a character off the pitch.
She's the annoying little sister.
Absolutely.
The baby.
Lottie, if she's back and available, is it worth giving her a run out?
I'm not going to say she's going to start because every time she says she starts, I say she starts, she doesn't. I'm going to leave that down to Matt to decide. I will always start her. That's the problem. So, and at the moment, I can't see her starting ahead of Vic Pullover. It's not going to happen. Let's be real.
Matt,
but Vic is also, I feel like she's on the edge of burnout, but she's not quite there.
No.
We saw that for the internationals. So, might be good for her to get a half a game, maybe. Just to ease the pressure off Vic, but yeah, I would not tell you. I can't tell you if she's going to start or not because I'm always wrong.
No, but I would say, Matt, surely that she has to go run out between now and the end of the season. If Jonas wants to see Jonas sees her as a big player going next season, she needs to. Pullover's had plenty of opportunities in the midfield and done well. We're not saying she's done badly, but at some point you got to think, well, what are my alternatives? Surely Kyra has to get a run out.
Well, it's also the same for Laura as well. Could you see Laura start in this one as well?
Good shot. Good shout.
That's an opportunity. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a semi-rotated where we see Laura and maybe Kyra starting, but I wouldn't be against both Laura and Kyra coming off the bench again, maybe on that 60-minute mark to sort of build that fitness up back again and that sharpness.
That might be the best option because they're both coming back. I wouldn't even object to that with Lotta either, to be honest with you. Sorry,
Matt, go.
No, well, I think the only other ones that you can sort of say who's had most minutes this season, I'll probably say is Beth. You've got Caitlin, who's been in and out, but now she's finding some form, so you'd probably say Caitlin probably starts. I think, Adam, you're hitting the nail on the head on the attacking midfield. Well, I would call it the Vivian mile role with the 10 where you're playing as a 10 and a half. You're not quite the attacking midfielder. You're not quite the striker. You're that go between. With Stina up top, I would imagine Kim Little's definitely going to start. Oddly enough, Kim Little has played a huge part at a little bit of history with at Walton Hall Park, securing that last minute penalty.
Well, yes.
Well, so I definitely let's put it this way. I think Kim Little's going to start. Maybe even you can't sort of question who's going to be in goal because.
Do you think Sam's might get a run out?
I wouldn't be surprised. And the only reason
love for Sabs to get a game. Like she's just so lovely as a human being. But I just think Manu needs a rest before City.
The other player I was going to mention is Frida. We saw her come back off the bench at Leicester City.
That was great.
Really good to see her back. She actually did an interview. It's in I think it's in Norwegian. But it's worth getting hold of and doing a Google Translate of it because it talks about her recovery and waking up. I mean, I've done that. I have woken up after being collapsed, and it's quite scary. And what is as scary is seeing them talk to you and you seeing the fear in their eyes because you're confused and they're looking at you with like a panic. And it's a bit sort of really, really good interview, worth reading and hearing about the way that the club are taking care of her and done the investigations and trying to work out what this is. I think they've said it's not a cardiac issue, but she just has something that will monitor her heart. Is she going to start this one? She came off the bench and looked okay against Leicester, or do you think it's just going to be bench minutes, just not take the risk?
I think it's just going to be, they're going to be precautious with her. If she feels like she can play, I think it'll be a case of let's see how she is, get to half time, and then go from there. I think that's the great thing though, is that we're seeing that we've got a mixture of midfielders that can essentially be rotated if needed to.
Lottie, Frida as 10, or might stick with Russo and Stina and have her off the bench?
I think off the bench for now. I'm still
Yeah,
still in
cool.
it. I'm not over that. So
No.
off the bench until we're definitely sure she can handle a full first half or second half.
Right.
Then just build it from there.
We've done a sort of a scan over the team, so we'll just run through the lineups. I think mine will start, but I think you're both predicting it. Well, Lottie, you're saying Sabs is going to start this one. Matt, Sabs, are you team Sabs in this one?
Yeah, I think
Team
I'm
Sabs.
going to go for rotation.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm okay. So the defence, I think Fox will start, and I think she's probably going to start every game now in the season, and I think she deserves the role. I think Laura Veenroyd will be a sub throughout the rest of the season. So I'm going for Fox, Lotta, Leah, and it's a toss-up between Steph and Katie. And I'm going to go with Katie. Any differing options on the back four from either of you?
I'll go again. Agree with Fox. I'll go with Leah, Lotta, and Steph.
We'll go Steph, Matt.
I think the only thing is Steph. At this moment in time, the best way to beat Everton is a quick play, and Katie's been dallying on the ball a lot recently. And also, this referee loves to give a yellow card. Just a bit of context. She's given
Who's the referee?
At least, I can't remember her first name, but it's Cross.
Okay.
But every single game she's got given a yellow card, and the only time she's given a red card is to Stepnovic for a second yellow. So best behaviour really for this one.
Oh, well, that's Katie McCabe in hot water then. We'll go for the midfield. We're all predicting Kim Little, Victoria Palova pivot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's relatively easy. So we'll move on to the front four. Yeah, we're all in agreement. Front four, I'm going to go Lacasse on the left, Mead on the right.
Agreed.
Agreed?
Yeah.
I have a bit of that.
Yes. No. I'm going to say no because I've said about the attack playing. Caitlin Ford's actually come into a little bit of form, so hopefully she can actually run at people this time.
You're backing Caitlin Ford?
We should say
I know that's a first.
Yeah, no. I know. What?
Didn't Ford get a brace last time in the 4-1? I know Lotta scored and Katie scored a screamer. I think Ford might have got. I've notched 2 goals. I know she's definitely scored 1 because she scored the opener. So maybe she'll repeat the trick then.
Yeah.
I said with those two wingers, the front two. It didn't look great against Leicester, but I will give Stina and Russo one more crack. I thought it looked good against Bristol. I thought against Leicester it wasn't so great. Russo then moved to striker, Frida at 10, and it worked. But I'll give Stina and Russo another go at 9 and 10. Lottie, same, or do you want to give Viv a start?
Oh, this is annoying. No, I'm going to stick with Russo and Stina.
Stina, Matt?
I'm going to throw in a square hole here. I'm going to think.
Throw a square hole? It's a round peg.
In a circle peg. There we go.
I'm going to throw Lacasse in. Play Lacasse as the attacking midfielder and Alessia as the striker.
Okay. Well, Matt's going Galaxy brain on this one. Okay, just to give a bit of pace in the centre of the park.
Yeah, and I think you look at Chloe does fantastic work in that on the wings, and she's very pacey. I just think if she's in that middle of the park, she can get the ball, she can run at you, and then she can play it quite easily. But then if that's the case,
I'll go on better there. I'll go on better. I put Lacasse as the lead and Russo as the 10, and have Lacasse bombing in behind. If you're gonna play those two. In the 9 and in the 10, I'd have them the other way around.
They can switch though. That would be the thing, wouldn't it? So it'd be a bit similar to having Katie not Katie, Caitlin and Beth on the wings. They always swap over after about 25 minutes.
What? I wouldn't mind putting Stina up there with Lacasse because Stina's that poacher, and that's what she'll benefit off.
See, I wasn't on board with the Lacasse at 10, but you're sort of twisting my arm on this one, Matt. I think there might be something. I'm not saying it'll happen, but there might be a bit of merit in there, and maybe something Jonas might experiment with, either towards the end of the season. Hopefully not against Man City. I don't think that's a game for experimentation. Maybe Everton is the ideal game. We'll see. We are gliding gently to touchdown on this particular episode. Only a few more pit stops along the way. And that is the first one, of course, is score predictions and how wildly inaccurate we can be for this one. Lottie, I'm going to predict that your prediction will be 3-2.
I'm going 2-0 to the Arsenal, so nah.
All right, okay, fine. 2-0 to the Arsenal. Okay, I like that. I like a nice stable.
Since I'm being too predictable for you, yeah.
That's the person who says I'm going to go to my same prediction always 3-2. I like it.
It's been a stable season. We've got what we've wanted. I can do what I want now. Shush.
Okay. And when it finishes 3-2 to the Arsenal at the weekend, you don't mind if we hold like a smug face back at you?
That's a bit like me saying Kyra's going to start and she doesn't. So go for it.
Absolutely. Matt, any for Team Everton? Can Everton get a win, do you reckon? Your lovely Everton? Or are you predicting maybe the Arsenal will come through again on this one?
Also, which side's going to win? That's my question. Who are you supporting? Yay!
Traitor.
Traitor to the shirt that you've got on. I love it.
You know, Everton.
I was forced into this, by the way, and actually, this is a little bit of memorabilia, by the way. This shirt actually was the first shirt to ever have disabled players actually represent the shirt in a photo shoot.
Oh, wow,
for a football club. So
that's fantastic.
Just for our audio listeners, Matt was, when I was laughing my head off, Matt was pointing at his Arsenal shirt that he has behind him in this studio, and he was also holding his Evertonian badge up.
Unfortunately, Everton spies will be watching this and will have seen that Matt is actually an Arsenal fan in hiding in Everton, and will therefore be getting an email from the club rejecting his ticket.
I'm gonna coin a phrase that the Chelsea fans, who's the gooner in disguise?
So if you are rejected upon entry at Walton Hall Park, Matt, you'll know why. But yes, your scoreline, for or against?
I think Arsenal are going to win this 1-4-1. It'll be nice to see Everton get a goal again. Like I mentioned, not got many goals this season. 7 at home. It's not great. So get them another goal.
You see, that's why I'm not quite harsh. But have they won at home this season?
Yes, they've won one game.
All right. Okay, that's one more than Bristol City have managed. I'm going to go with a humble, simple 3-0, like last weekend. I think we sort of found our groove. We were patient. It was a very relaxed but controlled performance, and I'm predicting the same away at Everton. If we do that, we get the 3 points. We can push towards a strong end to the season and hope for a bit of momentum going into Manchester City. But that's it. That's in our podcast, the end of our preview. Nothing more we can do, nothing more we can say, but just hope that the Arsenal do deliver for the 250 travelling fans who have made the trip. Congratulations to those who were able to get on the allocation. I hope you have an amazing time, and we wish obviously the best to those who sadly can't now make it. I hope a resolution is found there. Just leaves me to say, where can we all find you on social media? Matt, I'll come to you first.
You can find me at MattLR28. You can also follow the pod at VAWPods.
Thank you very much, Matt. And I think we can all say, hey, we look forward to repatriating you as an Arsenal fan once again when we do our review pod later in the week following the match, and we can have you back in the glorious red and white of the Arsenal. Lottie, where can we find you?
You can find me at Lottie_AWFC on Twitter and Instagram.
And you can find me posting absolute nonsense about the Arsenal women, along with some random facts and figures as well, at AdamSalter4. And if you are following my feed, you'll notice I am often retweeting from the Arsenal Women Archive. This is a channel set up to share Arsenal games from the past, to give a window into our illustrious history, and plenty of success that we've achieved along the way. We're coming up to May soon, lots of FA Cup finals during the month of May. There may well be a few highlights of some World Cup.
Where she wore a yellow ribbon.
Yes. I see. And there may well be some highlights of those cup finals coming up in the May schedule. So do follow the Arsenal Women Archive at the AW Archive if you want to delve into our past. Regular updates of Arsenal women games evolved. The June schedule has already been uploaded, so you've got 2 months of games locked in already for your enjoyment. So do give it a follow and do give it a share. But That's it. That's the end of the pod. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed us watching, do give us a like, comment, subscribe, etc. We do love reading your comments, and Lottie does so love it when we get a subscriber. So if not for us, do it for her. Do give us a follow on our pods on the Spotify podcast and on Apple Podcasts. And if you are enjoying what we're doing, do give us a review. It means a lot. And do give our Twitter account a follow. We don't just post about the podcast, we also post about the team and offer our congratulations to players when they win awards, like Stina when she won her Player and Goal of the Month award. But thank you very much for and birthdays. We are very good with birthdays. We should mention that one as well. But thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Good luck to the Arsenal this weekend. Let's bring home those 3 points. Come on, you Gunners.